What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video in the next episode of the MotoGP 25 career mode for part number 15 today of the Monster Energy Grand Prix of Catalonia in Barcelona. If you missed any of the previous episodes, then here is a bit of an overview of what's been going on in the world of Moto3. Our one and only victory came, what was 4 rounds ago now, as we head into round 15 at Sachsenring. And since then, it's been a bit of a struggle with a 12th in Brno, a 5th in Austria, and 8th last time out in Balaton Park. But we're back on familiar territory this weekend, back to the circuit de Barcelona Catalunya, one of my better circuits, it must be said, one of more favourite of the MotoGP calendar. So let's see what we can do as we cross the line to start our first lap in practice and get our eye dialed back into this circuit de Barcelona Catalunya and a long run towards turn number 1 for the first time in this weekend, and down towards turn 1, tricky little downhill braking section, and we got the braking zone a little bit wrong and just touched the inside of the curb, and it validated that lap. But our next lap, no such dramas, much better this time round. 3 red sectors compared to David Munoz, who leads the way on a 47.841. We're going to come across the line and we are going to go just under 4 tenths quicker with a 47.474. So already off to the good start in the Moto3 World Championship here in Barcelona, leading the way, and we're going to pick up a toe off Valentin Peroni on this very next lap down towards turn number 10 at the end of the back straight under the new little facilities that are built here in Barcelona. We run a little bit wide. Peroni has a look back through, but no way ahead for the Tech 3 rider, thankfully, as it's literally just practice and we don't particularly want to get any incidents or penalties that will hinder us in the race later on. But through the final couple of corners, picking up even more time, and we're about to smash it out the park here in practice and go 6 tenths of a second quicker, and eventually cross the line 8 tenths quicker than David Munoz. So we've got pace here in Barcelona, and it turns out at the end of it, 8 tenths quicker than Angel Piqueras, who jumped up to second place. So our title rival in this career mode universe pulling through at the end of practice 1, and he will join us and our other title rivals directly into Q2 here at a bright sunny Barcelona circuit, where the battle for pole position will commence with Quiles, Bertele, Moodley and Buchanan. So 2 sets of teammates there joining the already previous top 14, which features Eddie O'Shea in that top 14 as well. So good stuff for the Grid MLAV team. But as we head now towards turn number 1 for the first time in anger here in qualifying, we've got to spot the braking point, get on the brakes, but just as we come off the curb there, the back wheel just locking up the rear wheel there as we headed in towards turn number 1. A huge amount of engine braking there, just pulling the bike into the corner and just forcing us wide. But we're still under Quiles' top time of 48.1. I dare say you have to go much quicker than that if you want a shot at pole position. But then into turn 4, a mistake of our own, braking far too late and running wide, and off the track blows our first lap. It's still Quiles on top though, but right on cue as I say that, Adrian Fernandez moves his way up into pole position. And then on our second lap, we have a wobble as we change direction, and that upsets the bike, and down we go. So it's back to the pits for repairs and new rubber, and then we've got one shot at it really, one run to try and move up for what is P15, because Noah Detweiler, Ruchi Moodley and Cormac Buchanan are actually still yet to set a competitive time. So I'm sure by the time we get to the line at the end of this lap, we will be relegated down to the back of the field, and ideally we don't want to be starting 18th in this one if we can try and help it. At the minute though, it's Kelso on provisional pole as lap times come in, and we do drop down to 18th position, but I'm not sweating too much because this lap that we're on here should see us go top of the Moto3 Q2 session and push our teammate out of the top 10, who currently sits 10th, and there we go, right on cue, down to 11th as we go top with a 147.507, just a tenth and a bit quicker than Adrian Fernandez. But our next lap is even quicker as we kiss the inside curb at turn 10. We've got Alvaro Carpe down in 18th and last in this session as we have a big slide from the rear trying to get the traction down. Eddie O'Shea there on the MLAB bike, he's inside the top 10. A very strong showing for Eddie there in P9, but we are going to try and set the timing screens alight and really light the touch paper as we head into the Grand Prix on Sunday and throw a shot across the bows of our rivals as we cross the line. It's half a second clear at the top, a 47.090, and that, I'm fairly confident, is pole position. It is ahead of David Almanza, who jumps ahead of his teammate there to take second place. Will that prove costly in Sunday's race? Started a place back for Adrian Fernandez on the Leopard. We'll have to wait and see. And it's all the way down in 7th and 8th, the third row of the grid for Rueda and Piqueras.
Hello and welcome to Barcelona, Spain. We're coming to you from the Catalunya circuit, where the fans in the stands are eagerly awaiting the riders to take to the track. Just a few more moments and we'll switch to the starting straight for the Moto3 class race.
Here we go then. It's race time at Barcelona. 24 degree air temperature, 38 degree track temperature. Perfect temperature wise for Moto3 racing, but the eyes are in the sky because it is very overcast here in Barcelona, but hopefully no threat of rain, and we should be in for a very exciting race here in Moto3 as we start on pole position. Here is a full look at the grid, and then we cut down to our rivals. David Almanza lines up in the middle of the front row ahead of his teammate Adrian Fernandez. This man here, the man who is launched himself into the title fight really over the last couple of rounds, and it's definitely going to be an intriguing battle as we head towards the end of the season. Don't forget, we've only got this race here in Barcelona and then Misano before we head to the flyaway races of Japan, Indonesia, Australia, Malaysia, before then coming back to Portimao and then wrapping up the season in Valencia. So we've only got a handful of races left, so every point matters, every point counts for not just myself but for Adrian Fernandez, Piqueras and Rueda as well. And then don't forget, you've still got the likes of Munoz in there as well, 60 odd points back, so it's kind of still anybody's title. But let's see what we can do here in Barcelona.
The riders are ready for the start of the Catalan Grand Prix. The lights are on, and as soon as they go out, it's gonna get wild.
Here we go then. It's race time at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. We're on pole position, and it's an all-leopard conclusion to the front row. The lights are on in Barcelona, and we are racing. It's not a good start from ourselves whatsoever. It's Almanza who takes the lead. Fernandez jumps up into second place, and we're relegated to third, but we will pick up a nice slipstream, a double slipstream from the Leopard Hondas, and we will move ourselves surely back up in towards the lead of the race on the brakes into turn one. We're on the outside of both of them, and we do reclaim the lead of the Moto3 race. 6 laps around this Barcelona circuit, and we've got off to a perfect start, regaining the lead in towards that first right-hander at the end of the front straight. So it's myself who leads. Fernandez up into second, crucially. Almanza third. I'm looking for Piqueras and Rueda. They are still 7th and 8th as Fernandez makes contact with us. He throws his Leopard to the inside. We're going to have none of that. We're going to try and snap straight back into turn 5, but we're late on the brakes, and there's a moment, and we lost the front. And somehow we've stayed on this Moto3 bike. I don't know how we've stayed on the bike. We're shaking our head, we're shaking the camera, and we've rejoined the race in 9th position. So all in all, we've not lost too much time. We've got a crash further back. It's Dennis Foggia out of the race. He was involved in a collision with, I think, Ogden's name was on the list as well under investigation. But drama on the opening lap of the Barcelona Grand Prix here, and we're going to get another look at it from the helicam. Fernandez comes to the inside as we were cutting back in. We then desperately tried to get back underneath our title rival, late on the brakes, and the front end folded completely in towards that left-hander there, the downhill left-hander that catches out so many riders. And well, by our own lapse of concentration, braking far too late, it's caught us out, and now we've got work to do because we're 2.8 seconds behind Adrian Fernandez, and we're down into what is now P8 as we cut underneath Eddie O'Shea at turn 3. So we have work to do here at Barcelona. We do have the pace to win the race, but it all depends how quickly we can get ahead of our competitors, and it's not going to be easy now because we've got Piqueras and Rueda our 2 championship challengers in the 2 direct places ahead of us in 6th and 7th. So we're going to try and get through as quickly as possible on these, and it might even be a big lunge here into turn 7. There is a gap just about. We squeezed through. Fair play to Piqueras. He gave us the room. I think he had to, because it might have been a bit of a shoulder barge and Piqueras might have even gone down, but we're up into what is P7. This is what happened on the opening lap, as the bunch just kind of Constantina up and Foggia left with nowhere to go and down. And I was trying to work out where it kind of stemmed from, and it just everybody just bunched up. I don't know whether our lunge at the front of the pack caused it or what, but yeah, the whole pack Constantinaed up, and Foggia unfortunately gone down. But now on lap number 3 through the first chicane, we're looking to line up a move on Rueda, going really wide into turn 2, trying to carry the speed through turn 3 and maybe look at a move on Rueda, who in turn is looking at a move on, I think that's Ricky Rossi up ahead. So as we head in towards turn 4, there's a bit of a gap on the inside. We go for the move up the inside of Jose Antonio Rueda, and we do get through into P6, and the next man on our list is Ricky Rossi, but we're going to be a little bit patient in towards turn 5. The Repsol hairpin, cut back on the inside, get on the power, use a little bit of slipstream from that Honda Team Asia bike, look to the inside, and we do move up into P5 and ahead of Ricky Rossi. So our little favourite turn 7 move there at TV3, I think it's called, paying off as we get ahead of Ricky Rossi and in towards the top 4 now. So next man on our sides is the man holding 4, Max Quiles, who is going to be a tough nut to crack, I think, because he's in with a sniff of podium contention up behind Kelso and then the 2 Leopards. Crucially, we are still 2.1 seconds behind Adrian Fernandez as we've got to try and clear this battle. I thought there might have been a move on there of the inside of Quiles, but no way through. We weren't quite close enough to slide a Honda up the inside of his little Moto3 KTM bike, but yeah, no way through. So we're going to try and line the move up, get the exit, carry the speed, and have a go in towards turn 1, but a little bit wide on the exit. Crucially, just drops a couple of bike lengths. But even more importantly, on the right-hand side of your screen, if it finishes like this, we're tied on points with Angel Piqueras. We've clawed back the couple of points that we need, and we'll be tied on points. We're late on the brakes there, and we run into the back of Quiles in towards turn number 1. And that was a very, very audacious and optimistic move from ourselves. Thankfully, we get away unscathed. No damage to our bike. Quiles seems to be okay. And yeah, I have to hold my hands up for that one. We just got the braking. Well, to be fair, I don't think we broke any later than we have done, but I was just caught out by Quiles and his braking marker, and we slam into the back of him, but no harm done. We pick up the warning for irresponsible riding, which I'll take on the chin, and move on from that one. So we're going to try and now line up the move on Quiles to see if we can maybe do our favourite turn 7 move, dive into the inside. We look to the inside, we get to the inside, and we get through on Quiles, who's going to try and come back at us, but no way through for him. And in fact, there's a faller further back. I hear the crash sound effect in my ears, and it's our teammate who's gone down. And unfortunately for the River Gold team, no points coming their way for Nicolo Carraro, and all the fate lies on us. So as we made our move into turn 7 for P4, our teammate Nicolo Carraro come to the end of his race, sliding out of contention. And then the very next lap at turn number 1, Ricky Rossi crashes from that top 6 group, and importantly gives Rueda and Piqueras another position and a couple of extra points. So Ricky Rossi doing them a favour by sliding out at turn number 1, but that's okay because we've still got some more points on the table as we close right up to the back of the Red Bull KTM IO bike of Joel Kelso, number 66, and we're going to dip to the inside and we're going to take P3 and we move ourselves onto the podium. And with just a lap and a bit to go, our eyes are very much set on David Almanza. I don't know if we're going to do anything about Fernandez, who is holding a good pace at the front. And as it stands, as we are sat in P3, it's 4 points the difference between myself and Piqueras, and Fernandez is just 9 points behind as we head towards turn number 1. And we do get through on David Almanza, but a little mistake there over the curb, and we pick up a track limits warning on this final lap of the race. Thankfully, the rules in the game don't mirror the rules in real life, because we would have had to drop the position at the end there, and that would have relegated us to 3rd. But thankfully, that's not the case as we come through the final sector. And as you can see, there is just no answer to Adrian Fernandez, and having to come back through the field we are going to have to settle for what will be second position in the Barcelona race, pending disaster at this final corner. Into the final corner, we get through turn 14. It's victory for Fernandez and Leopard, but we claw back to second place to take the lead once again of the Moto3 World Championship. David Almanza rounds out the podium position with Joel Kelso 4th and Max Quiles in 5th. Rueda beats Piqueras for 6th place, Bertelli 8th, David Munoz down in 9th, and Bouasri rounding out the top 10 on the Honda Team Major bike. Detweiler 11th, and Cormac Buchanan completing the front page of results there in P12. But it wasn't plain sailing for us whatsoever in that race. We dropped down to 9th place on the opening lap, battled our way through, and had to really fight hard to claw back a podium position. Second at the end, and it is the lead of the championship by 8 points over Piqueras. Fernandez in third, 13 back now. Rueda 29 back, Munoz 46 back, and Quiles 66 back. So there's still a fair few riders well within a chance of this Moto3 World title as we head towards the flyaway races.
We're back in Parc Fermé with the top 3, and this lad got a great second place today. It was a truly outstanding performance.
So for the first time since Sachsenring, what feels like a lifetime ago, we are back on the podium. Second place at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, but more importantly, we are back at the top of the Moto3 World Championship. After losing it a few rounds ago to Piqueras, we are back in business and back at the front of that Moto3 title chase. We've got another little dig coming our way from Adrian Fernandez, and then we're just kind of going off on one. We've given Noah Detweiler a little bit of grief as well because of the link to the Red Bull KTM IO team that we've got in this Moto3 career mode. Ideally, we want a nice ride in Moto2 for Season 2, but we'll have to wait and see how that happens, because I've not actually finished recording this season yet as I record this voiceover on the 25th of October, and I started when the game came out, so we are quite far behind, it must be said, but I'm a busy man. But as you can see, just doing some of the training there. It didn't go well, we crashed and I rage quit, but yeah, that is the end of what is round 15 of the Moto3 World Championship. Next up, we go to the Adriatic coast and the Rimini Riviera as we head to Misano for round 16. So let's try to keep the momentum rolling now. Back on the podium, we need to start just consistently finishing inside that top 3 and really try and just run away at the front of this Moto3 Championship. Easy said than done, but let's see what we can do at the next episode of the MotoGP 25 career mode. So until then, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.